미련하게 무리해서 낳다니.
아니 애 낳기 전에 참 건강했어.
엄마 또 만나. 엄마다. 엄마!
지호야! 지호야!
엄마!
안돼 만지지 마! 안돼!
엄마! 일어나봐! 빨리!
지호야!
In the story of life after death, souls called by God wait in the land of clouds before they can enter heaven. Among them are mothers who have passed away, quietly watching over their children from above. But once a year, during the rainy season, these souls are given a rare chance to return to earth. For a short time, they can talk to their children, laugh with them, and hold them close again. But when the rain fairy appears, the visit must end. If they don't return before the last drop of rain falls, they'll be stranded on earth. With tears hidden behind a smile, the mother says goodbye and disappears back into the clouds. This story was written by Soo-ah for her young son, Ji-ho, just before she passed away unexpectedly. Her death left Ji-ho and his father, Woo-jin, heartbroken. Now a single dad, Woo-jin does everything he can to take care of his son. Every morning at 3 a.m., he heads to work as a swimming pool guide, then rushes home by 6 to make breakfast and get Ji-ho ready for school. He's been doing this for a year, but with his clumsy nature, the house is often a mess. Still, as long as Ji-ho gets to school on time, that's what matters most. After dropping Ji-ho off at school, Woo-jin goes straight back to work and finishes before school ends. While waiting to be picked up, Ji-ho often stops by a bakery run by Hong-gu, Woo-jin's best friend. To Ji-ho, Hong-gu is like an uncle. He's cheerful and supportive, the opposite of Woo-jin's quiet sadness since Soo-ah passed away. Hong-gu often steps in for school events when Woo-jin can't make it. This time, Ji-ho needs someone to run with him in the school's relay race. But since Hong-gu isn't a parent, he isn't allowed to join. Fortunately, Woo-jin manages to make time despite his busy schedule.
지호야!
The race is tough for him because he has a condition that causes him to faint when his heart races too much. After they lose, Woo-jin keeps apologizing. But Ji-ho surprises him by saying he's not upset. He understands and still looks up to his father. One morning during the holiday, the rain finally begins. It marks the start of the wet season and the day Ji-ho has been waiting for. His mother once promised to return exactly 1 year after her death. Ji-ho puts on his yellow raincoat and runs to the train station. Woo-jin knows the promise was only meant to comfort their son, but he can't bring himself to stop him. He follows along, pretending to search, while trying to find the right moment to explain the truth. Even after the rain stops, Ji-ho keeps crying and calling for his mother. Woo-jin brings him home, trying to calm him down. But then, a woman suddenly appears in the train tunnel. At first, they think she might be lost or confused.
잠깐만. 짐 가자.
엄마!
지호야! 지호야!
엄마!
안돼 만지지 마! 안돼!
일어나봐! 빨리!
Then they realize it's Soo-ah. Woo-jin is in shock. He even slaps his own face, trying to believe it. But Soo-ah looks lost. She doesn't recognize Woo-jin or Ji-ho, and doesn't remember anything about their family. Convinced she's lost her memory, Woo-jin and Ji-ho work together to help Soo-ah remember who she was. They decide to treat her just like before, hoping familiar routines will trigger something. And so, in the quiet space between grief and hope, a family begins to rebuild. But the rain won't last forever. This is the story of love given one more chance. This is Be With You. Their plan begins at home, but on her first day back, still weak and confused, Soo-ah rests while Ji-ho stays close, never leaving her side. Watching them, Woo-jin feels a mix of joy and quiet jealousy. As she sleeps, he gently touches her cheek, holding on to the moment. It gives him new energy. That day, he finishes his shift faster than ever. The next morning, Woo-jin feels a sense of jealousy. Ji-ho gets to kiss Soo-ah on the cheek, while Woo-jin, as always, kisses her photo before taking his son to school. But that day, Ji-ho decides to skip school and go back home to spend time with his mother. They play cards, video games, and even have a pillow fight.
이겼다.
이번엔 봐준 거야.
Later, Woo Jin comes home early, hoping to spend time with Soo-ah. Instead, he finds Ji-ho already there, enjoying every moment. The jealousy returns. But soon, Woo Jin gets a moment of his own. While Soo-ah is frying something in the kitchen, hot oil splashes, and Woo Jin quickly steps in to shield her. The simple act gives them a quiet moment together. That night, Soo-ah gently applies ointment to Woo Jin's back and asks him to tell her how their story began. Woo Jin starts from the beginning. They first met as classmates in high school. He had feelings for her, but never had the courage to confess, even after saving her from drowning in the school pool. Woo Jin was shy, but he had help. His friend Honggu gave him advice on how to win her heart. One idea was to pretend to be left-handed in dance class so he could be paired with Soo-ah. The plan worked at first, but when they danced, Woo Jin got so nervous that he stepped on her foot and gave her a nosebleed. After that, they stopped talking and didn't speak again until graduation. Woo Jin tried to write something in her yearbook, but he accidentally left his pen inside when she closed the book. He was too scared to ask for it back. It took him more than 3 years and a push from Honggu before he finally called her. She agreed to meet, saying she would return the pen. But for Woo Jin, it was just a chance to see her again. Wearing a flashy suit picked out by Honggu, Woo Jin shows up to meet Soo-ah with fake confidence. The meeting is awkward. They barely speak, just exchange the pen. Woo Jin is too nervous to say much. But just before it ends, he manages to ask her out for a meal. They talk a little, and it's not smooth lines that win her over, but his honesty. His awkwardness makes her laugh. From that moment, something shifts. They start writing letters to each other. And that's how their relationship begins. That night, after sharing the story of how they first met, Woo Jin heads off to his night shift at the pool. By the next day, something changes in Soo-ah. She starts to feel like a wife and a mother again. She begins moving through the house with ease and eventually finds a storage room filled with photos and familiar objects. For the first time, Woo Jin doesn't feel like a stranger. But that night, everything is disrupted. Honggu shows up drunk to create chaos. His shouting wakes Soo-ah, and Woo Jin panics. He tries to get Honggu out before he sees her, afraid the shock might overwhelm him. But it's too late that Honggu catches a glimpse of her and runs, convinced he just saw a ghost. That night, after the chaos, Woo Jin gets another moment alone with Soo-ah. He continues their story, this time sharing how they first held hands and the small things they loved while dating. One of their favorite memories was watching movies from a hilltop using a telescope and picking up the audio through a hijacked radio signal. They recreate the moment, and it leads to a kiss. That kiss touches Soo-ah deeply. She decides to wear her wedding ring again, choosing to return as a wife and a mother. From that point on, they find happiness in their daily life. Simple routines and small joys fill their days, even without money. Soo-ah also starts to understand Woo Jin's condition, the illness that causes him to faint when his heart beats too fast. He finally tells her where it all began. It happened during a national swimming competition, the moment that ended his career and the future he had hoped for. Feeling like a failure, Woo Jin once chose to let her go. He believed he could never give her the life she deserved and hoped she would move on with someone who could. Woo Jin believed his plan had worked. A year after their breakup, he saw Soo-ah getting into a luxury car with another man. He thought she had found someone who could give her a better life. He felt relieved, but the sadness stayed with him. Several months later, Soo-ah called and asked to meet at the train station. What she said surprised him. She told Woo Jin she had tried to move on, but couldn't. She said she was ready to be his wife, because she knew he would always do his best to make her happy. That moment became the start of their life together. They got married and started a family. Unfortunately, Soo-ah's parents didn't approve and worried about her future with a man who had little to offer. Despite everything, those years turned out to be the happiest of her life until the day she passed away. After Woo Jin finishes telling their story, a news report announces that the rainy season will end in 2 weeks. That means Soo-ah's time is almost over. She realizes it before anyone else. Quietly, she begins teaching Ji-ho how to cook and care for the house, hoping it will make things easier for Woo Jin after she leaves. At night, after Ji-ho had gone to sleep, Soo-ah watched old family videos alone and cried in silence. Meanwhile, Woo Jin was never home at night. Without telling anyone, he was secretly working with Honggu to block the entrance to the train tunnel. He believed that sealing it might stop Suah from leaving. But before the weight of their grief could fully sink in, Jiho got in trouble for damaging a classmate's parents' car while trying to wash it. He stayed quiet as the angry mother scolded both him and Woojin. Later, in tears, Jiho finally told his father the truth. He believed a myth that washing a car could bring rain. He was doing it to delay his mother's departure. Woojin was heartbroken to realize Jiho was carrying the same pain. That sadness only grew when he found out the wooden barrier had collapsed in a landslide. The skies cleared, and under that bright, their farewell began. Suah accepted that her time had come and walked toward the tunnel. Jiho, not wanting to miss a final moment with his mother, ran after her. Inside the tunnel, they held each other and cried. Both apologized, each feeling like they hadn't done enough. But in that moment, they also shared their gratitude. Jiho told her she had been the best mother. Suah told him he'd been the best son. The only one not, there was Woojin. He ran from work, tried to reach them, but collapsed from exhaustion before he could. His illness had caught up with him. Still, the memory of Suah gave him the strength to stand and keep going.
생일 축하합니다.
He arrived just in time to see her one last time. They didn't speak, but through her final smile, Woojin understood. He had given her happiness. Then she disappeared, leaving behind a father and son to move forward together. Later, while cleaning the storage room, Woojin finds Suah's diary. He had never opened it before. Still mourning, he finally begins to read and discovers that Suah had loved him long before he ever realized. The man in the luxury car was just a friend. That day, she had seen Woojin in the rain and ran after him. But before she could reach him, she was hit by a car and fell into a coma. During the coma, her spirit traveled into the future. That was the version of Suah who met Woojin and Jiho in the tunnel. She had no memory at first because her soul arrived before her mind could catch up. But the time she spent with them during the rainy season helped her remember what truly mattered. When Suah finally woke up, she knew that she needs to find Woojin, marry him, and build a family with a son named Jiho. Woojin closes the diary and makes a quiet promise to himself. From now on, he will raise Jiho with everything he has, just like Suah would have wanted. The story ends. So the moral of the story is, if your dead wife shows up during rainy season with amnesia, don't panic. Just wait for a frying pan accident to fix everything.